Painters, ready or not, we are live from the patio in Colorado. Good morning, painters. I hope your weekend is off to a good start. Thanks for joining me. If you're in the chat, say a quick hello. But hey, I'm excited. On today's Plein Air live show, we're going to be doing color mix and match. It's going to be fun. We're not really going to paint something per se, but we are going to have fun and get better at our color mixing. So I'm excited. Got a little bit different camera angle here. What I tried to do was, man, I'm so bummed. I had it set up that we had two different camera angles, one on me and one on the palette. Because it's really important today that you guys see the palette, because we're gonna be going crazy mixing some colors. But so I'm gonna turn my camera. Hopefully everything goes well after I'm done talking here for a minute. But welcome again. We're doing live, and this is a Learning Plein Air channel. We have a live show every Friday morning, coming to you from Colorado on the patio. And soon we got to move indoors, man. I keep saying that, but I just love being out here. And as long as the sun is shining, I don't really care how cold it is. So, hey, good morning, AZ. Glad to have you with us. Okay, awesome. Well, good. So last week we talked about values. I hope you enjoyed that one. If you missed it, go back and watch it on replay. But we're here every Friday to kind of get inspired, educated, motivated, spur each other on with our painting skills, especially plein air skills. And you don't have to plein air paint to watch this. We have many people that don't. But hey, let me show you real quick. Usually we work on an object or like apples or still life, and we kind of show that from last week. But we're doing some different things these weeks. And so this is what I was working on. If you're in the Facebook group or you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen this one, but let's just show some paintings here to kind of inspire each other. But this is what I did yesterday. It's still wet, so I got to be careful, but oh, you're not gonna be able to see it. Oh, here we go. Yeah, because of the sun. But I was working on, let me get it in the shade for you, light and shadow on the mountain. Sorry about that view. It's not very good. The light is shining directly at me. But, one thing you can do with the sky, there's some things I like about this painting and some things I don't. But in the sky, I used what's called a broken color technique. And if you follow the impressionists, hey, Bob, all right, man. Joining you from Southwest France. Good to have you back. I hope your Saison trip was successful for you. That was neat to follow you and hear you doing that. I'm sure you had a blast doing that. So welcome, Bob, from France. That's cool. But yeah, this painting, I used what's called a broken color technique, and the French Impressionists started that, where you don't just paint the sky all one color. I used a variety of brush strokes and a variety of colors, and I let one great texture and color. Thanks, Bob. And I let one color kind of shine through with the other beside one another. And that's kind of what I did with the sky there. But, what I was really trying to focus on was the light and shadow on the mountain. That's really what I was trying to focus on. Let me see if I can. Yeah, the sun is shining brilliantly. Let's get rid of that. But you get the point. Mountains are so cool to paint because they just have so much light and shadow. And that's why wintertime is my favorite time to paint. But hey, if you're watching on replay, thanks for watching. Leave a comment, let us know you're there. And if we haven't met yet, I'm Terry, and this channel is Learning Plein Air. We're kind of dedicated to helping people get started in plein air painting, and if you've already started in the last year or two or three, improving your skills. So that's what we're doing. That's why we're here. And so hey, let's get into the quote of the day. We got to get fired up here, man. And it has to do with color. We're talking about color mixing today. Hey, Deborah, glad you could join us. Good morning from Texas, probably, I think, if I remember correctly. Good morning, Deborah. The quote of the day is, color is my day-long obsession, joy, and torment. Color is my day-long obsession, joy, and torment. And, who said that? Claude Monet. A lot of my quotes come from Claude Monet. I try not to do that, but it's a good, I think, reminder for us that mixing color is something that I don't think you ever really mastered. I think even the best plein air painters or oil painters, whatever medium you use, it's kind of a lifelong journey. And it's good to hear that from him. And it encourages me, because if he struggled with it, it was his joy, obsession, and torment. It's like it can be all of the above, right? But that's our quote of the day. And hey, let's get into this. I've got one brush because in a second here, I'm going to turn the camera right onto my palette. And it's going to be all about color mixing. And I'd like to hear your feedback, your comments, and stuff like that. I want to show you one more thing before we do that, a color wheel type of thing. And let's see what else. Oh, yeah. So the live stream here, it is brought to you by the new Facebook group, the Learning Plein Air group, Learning Plein Air group. Go search for it on Facebook if you haven't joined us. It's a real cool group of people. nice and small so far with some good interaction with people. But brilliant quote, says Bob. Brilliant quote. Color mixing is hard. Yeah, it really is. And like let me just say from the forefront, Bob, that I haven't mastered it by any means. I need an umbrella shift. I bought my new Julian plein air umbrella, which I plan on using, but I use it to keep the sun out of my face. So I apologize, but it needs to be shifted to the right. And my wife is sick. She's sick with a cough in bed. She's okay, but she's not out here. She helps me sometimes. But but yeah, it is hard, Bob, and it's just really something. I think it's part color theory science, and then I think it's part art. So one message I want to kind of get across today is that don't be a slave to the color wheel. The color wheel can help you for sure, but I'll say more about that in a minute. But speaking of the color wheel, so I want to show you this. If you're just beginning, which a lot of you on here are not, but I found this in my studio, this old color wheel. See, the light is kind of bugging me. Sorry, but check this out. If you can see this. Okay, there we go. Shadow. So what you can do is, this is an old gambling color wheel. So you pick your color, like let's just pick green, for example. Put it right up in your face there, you can see it. So, and then the primary color, see these arrows on here? These are the primary colors. So if I added yellow to the green, then I get that yellow green. See that square right there? It shows it. And then if I added blue to the green, oh, there we go. If I added blue to the green, it would look like that. I'm not sure my experiment is working here, but I think you're following me. And then if I add black to the green, okay, right there, we get this color right here. We get this black, this real dark black green. And then of course, let's just say if we add white to the green right there. So white to the green, sorry, it's backwards on the camera. I won't spend much more time on this, but you get a cooler green color. But I thought this was cool because you could just kind of turn this, and there's all kinds of color wheels out there. If you don't have one, grab one if you're just beginning. And hey, I've been painting for 16, 17 years, and I just got that out and I just took a look at it and refreshed myself with it. But hey, let's get on to this, okay? So, why are we out here doing stuff like this? Usually we paint apples, still lifes. We're practicing, man. So we can, when we go out and plein air paint, it's second nature, it's automatic. You see, when you plein air paint, it's different than studio painting for two reasons mainly. One is the light. It always changes, in the weather, and two is time. You can go out and just take it easy and not worry about anything and have fun, and that's great too. But if you're trying to make a good painting, you're up against the clock, right? As you guys know. So that's why we're out here, so we can improve. So let me just kind of say this first, and I'm going to turn the camera on to my palette, is that color mixing outside is a little bit different. I don't want to claim that, we have some sort of superiority by being plein air painters or whatever. Of course we do. But no, it's different because light is different on objects outside, as you know, than it is on a reference photo or anything inside your studio. It just is. And there's certain things that change outside that don't change in your studio. You've got atmosphere, you've got clouds, you've got rain, you've got snow. Light changes in and out, goes behind the clouds and comes back out. So what I'm doing here today, what I'm going to talk about, and I'd like to get your feedback, is how we can mix colors better, but on plein air. Okay, so that's why we're doing this. But and then like I said on my my newsletter that I sent out, is that animals move. If you're painting animals, they move, right? If you're painting a reference photo, and so people move, and there's all kinds of different things on plein air when you're color mixing, and we're not trying to replicate really a subject matter. We are trying, when we paint on plein air, to at least I am, create an emotion, a mood, a memory. Doesn't have to be an exact replica. If you can do that and you're that talented and you like that, go for it, man. That's just not what my style is, but doesn't mean I'm right and someone else is wrong. So let's get into this. I'm going to switch the camera to the palette. So I've got these paint swatches. I just got them. I just picked them up from Home Depot. You can get them from your local hardware store. I thought we'd start with these ones right here. And again, this isn't a new exercise, but if you've never heard of this, this is really, really a good way to go. And you can really learn a lot by doing this. I'm going to start with this green right here. Okay. It's called it's called Pesto Paste. Okay. I'm going to put it on the palette. We're going to mix next to it. We haven't really done this before, so bear with me. Technologically, the phone might drop. Who knows what's going to happen here, but I'm going to attempt to turn. I even lost my brush. I'm going to turn the camera. Okay. And then we'll get going. I may not be able to see much of the chat. I apologize. But I will look at it when I turn the camera back to me. So AZ says, amen, bro. I hear you, man. Yeah, all that stuff is true, isn't it? Okay, so let's turn this and see what we can do. Bear with me. We're live. This is what happens, when you're live. Don't get dizzy. I'm just going to turn this down. Don't get mad at me. Okay, there we go. Palette view. Okay. If you want it better or different, just kind of shout out to me. I can still see the chat, as you can see, because I'm still okay. Let's turn it that way. Let's get you nice and close. Let's kind of zoom in more, like that. Can you see it? Is that okay? If you're good with that, put in the chat, yeah, it's good. If you're not, say, do something different, bro. Let me know. I think we're gonna go with that. Okay. So if that works for you, I'm gonna get out of the scene here. I'm gonna get my brush. You can still hear me, so I'm going to get to mixing. And all right, let me just kind of zoom up here real quick on the. Okay, good. So we've got this color here. I've got my palette in the shade. As I said in the newsletter that I sent out, is when you're plein air painting, always face your easel and your canvas to the shade. To the sun, so that you are in the shade. Face it to the sun, so you're in the shade. You can judge your colors a lot better that way. Because if you paint in the sun, direct sunlight on your palette and then in your canvas, you're going to go home and you're going to find that your painting is way too dark. So, okay, good. Thanks, AZ. You can see things. Okay, so the first thing I do, here's what we do. Let's try to match this color as close as we can. Is I say, okay, what color family is it, right? So what is it? It's green. So then what you might want to say is, okay, does it lean toward one of the primaries? Like, is it more reddish green? Is it more, bluish green? And so is it more yellowish green? And I kind of see it as more yellowish green. Okay. So what I'm going to do is what you can do is you can just do, and I'm just going to use 3 colors. I don't know if I told you that, but I'm just going to use 3 colors, the primaries, red, yellow, and blue. And I'm going to try to match these paint swatches. I'm going to talk you through how I think about things. And I still can see the chat. So if you want to say something, that you don't like about me personally or my painting technique, just kidding. If you want to say something, I can still see it. Okay, so what we could do is we could just start with okay, it's a yellowish green. Okay, so I could just start with cad yellow. My palette's still messy from yesterday. I could just start with cad yellow. I'm going to get a little bit of medium in there, a little bit of terpenoid. Okay, so then how do we dial it in, right? Well, some teachers will say, hey, just start with the value first and then dial the color in. I don't really do that. I do them both at the same time. And I'll tell you why in a second, but it needs to be green, right? So I'm gonna get all the paint off my brush like that. I'm not gonna waste any paint, but I am gonna wipe, that because I'm gonna dip into a pure ultramarine blue. Okay, I'm gonna get it in there and just kind of mix it up. Okay, and now we're turning into the green family, as you would kind of guess where we're going with this, right? So that's just how I get started. You may already know that or have a different way, but that's how I get it in the ballpark to begin with. And now as I go, I adjust the color and the value at the same time, because part of the reason is I'm outside and I'm trying to hurry and I'm fighting the light and I'm fighting time and I'm fighting the weather. And so I don't have time to sit there and, okay, let's dial in the value first for 45 minutes. I got to do them both at the same time. Now you don't have to do it that way. Okay. So now what we want to do is, okay, where do I need to go? Do I ask myself, is it lighter? Do I need to make it lighter or darker in value, or warmer or cooler in temperature? Okay. So I'm going to put in a little bit we need it to be cooler for sure. So I'm going to put a little cad red in there and let's just see what happens there. It makes it that brown kind of green color, which I don't want, right? So we're going to zig and zag quite a bit here, and you'll learn, and I'll learn how we get to the right color. I'm going back into ultramarine blue, okay, because I need to change my value. I need to make it a little bit darker. So I'm going to try to talk to you as I mix. All right, so I'm too dark in value with that. Sometimes you can scoop too much of a paint into a pile when you're plein air painting, especially if you use your brush. I don't have it sitting next to me, but my palette knife, I'd recommend also mixing en plein air with your palette knife. Okay. I'm just going to check the chat. Hey, Dan, good morning. Glad you're with us, buddy. Sorry, I didn't mean to stick my mug in there. See, that's what happens. Man, I had the technology all figured out. I'm so disappointed. I had 2 camera angles figured out. Now we can use titanium white. So I'm going to go into titanium white right there. And I'm getting closer because I see this color here as a cooler green color, you know? Okay. And then what we can do is we can dab it on there. And I don't know if you can see that, but I can. So I'm just going to talk you through it, but I'm pretty close there. Like, I don't know if you can see, I'll put it in shadow. I'm pretty close with that, but I'm off. I'm closer in value, but I'm off in color. So I'm going to go with just a little bit more red, but not as much as last time because it made it brown, right? So you know that green and red are complementary colors. So if I add too much red to this, I'm going to end up with a brown, and I don't want that. So I'm pretty close there, but I need more yellow. Remember, it's a yellowish green. It's a yellowish green. So there we go. But maybe a little bit lighter. Okay. White cools things. It lightens things, but be careful because it cools things. Now I'm off a little bit, I think. A little more blue, and I should be able to bring us around third base here with this ultramarine blue. Let me just do a tester and then just see how close I was. Pretty close, but actually I'm too dark in value. And then, so let's go with a little more white. Let's just try to dial this in, and we'll go on to the next color. A little more titanium white. And I may just want to try that and then just see, just see how close I am with that. Okay, I'm the right value, but I'm off in color just a little bit. It's a tough color to get. It really is. Pesto paste. It's kicking my butt right now, man. I'm going to go a little more blue, ultramarine blue, not too much. Okay, I've got the right value, so I don't want to put too much ultramarine blue in there because it will darken. It will change the value too much, and I don't want that. I'm on top of it. I'm almost there, so I just got to get the right combination. So I add a little more blue, but not too much, and a little more red, but not too much red. And then finally, I want to try. Oh, that was too much yellow. You see what I did there? Too much yellow. Let's go back to white. You just got to go back a step. It's okay. And we should be able to dial this in right here with this blue if I don't make it too dark. Okay. So this is either going to frustrate you watching me do this, or it's going to help you. One or the other. So here we go. Let's try that one. That's pretty close. I'm still a little dark in value. So I'm going to go with a little more yellow. Okay. Let's see how we do there. It's just a little bit too green. I'm going to go back to titanium white and just cool it up a little bit. This pesto paste is a tough one. Maybe a little more blue. Yeah, I think that's more like it right there. Okay, so that's probably the closest one yet right there. And we'll stick with that as close enough, you know what I mean? But you could kind of see there. Now, what I want to show you now is, like I always say, when you mix on the palette, it's only half the battle, really. What I always talk about is it's a comparison game. And with colors, it's all about your neighbors. You got to compare with your neighbors. Normally, you don't want to look at your neighbors too much and compare with them. But in plein air painting, you do. I'm kind of tempted because I had 2 camera angles. I was going to put this card up. Let's just try it, okay? I'll just be careful not to disconnect us. Whoa. I'm trying not to fall off my stool. But I'm going to put this card up on my canvas, okay? And then I'm going to switch the camera real quick up a little bit, just up a little bit, not too much. Okay, there we go. Okay, but if you can see that color card, what I always like to do is, I always start with my darkest dark. I always do. And there's a reason. You see, that card by itself in isolation, it looked to me like a darker value. It looked like a darker value. But when I put it next to black, that's why I start with my darkest dark. And then I got a white square here so you can see. So you're always comparing, one color to the next. So this color looks different next to black than it did by itself in isolation. To me, it looks lighter, a lot lighter. This was our final brush stroke right here. It was pretty close. I think I'm just a little bit off. Not so much in value, but in color. But for the sake of the show, I'm just going to move on to the next card. Okay. And we'll do one more color. And let's see what you want to do, man. You want to do orange, blue or purple? Somebody say. I don't know. This is like a purple color, very dark value. This is a lighter value, you know, kind of like a sky color. And I think this will be kind of tough, this little brownish yellow one. But if you've got input, let me know. Deborah says, I never thought about mixing on a paint swatch. Yeah, I think it's good practice. It is good practice. Sorry, I didn't mean to get my mug in here, but I can't see any other way. Orange. Okay, you want to try the orange? All right. Deborah says orange. Let's do it. Okay, so we're going for orange. Let me put the camera back down on the palette. Grab a swig of coffee. There we go. Okay, you can see it. Okay, I need my palette knife now, though, because I got to get rid of that. Got to get rid of that green color. So as I do this, if you're watching on replay, feel free to skip around the channel. If you're here live with us, say a quick hello, man. Give us some input on color mixing. If you got any good tips or advice or what's working for you lately, throw it in the chat, because your chat comments really, really do help other people. And that's kind of why we're here, right? So I'll put that right there. Let's put that right there. Okay, so then to clean my palette, I just dip in a little bit of odorless turpenoid. And then I just kind of wipe that off just like that with a paper towel, so that we have somewhat of a clean palette. We never really do have a clean palette, totally. But okay, I got my paper towel. Let's get to it, man. So this is like a dark brown. I would say like it's darker than a midtone, you know? So like my 4 values we talked about last week are a light, a midtone, a dark, and a black. So when I do a plein air painting, I try to get all those values in my painting, right? And so I would say this is like, I would say that is, you know, maybe a midtone to dark, somewhere in that neighborhood, right? So if you look at it, you know, next to other colors, if you look at it next to that yellow, it certainly does look dark. If you look at it next to the blues, it doesn't look so dark, right? So that's what it's all about. That's the name of the game. So, hey, if you missed it, when I'm dialing in colors, I think through value and color and temperature all at the same time. Do I need to make it lighter, darker, warmer, or cooler, right? That's what I do. And then here's another tip, okay? Tip number 2 when you're plein air painting, as I do this, is don't stare. When you're looking out at the landscape, don't stare at the barn for 43 minutes and try to figure out the color. Don't do that. If you're having trouble nailing a color, look away from it and look through your peripheral vision. Look through your peripheral vision. I'm gonna start with orange here, because you're like, hey, what color family is it? It's like brown, you know, it's got some orange in it. It's like a brownish orange. So I'm just gonna throw out some orange to start. But along those lines, like what I was saying, this is very, very important. If you haven't heard this before, if you've watched my videos, you probably have, but don't look in the center of an object and stare and try to figure out, because your mind and your eye will fool you. So what you want to do is look next to it. You want to look out of your peripheral vision, and it'll come to you, man. Just wait a few seconds and you'll see it. You'll be like, oh man, there it is. Yeah, it's a violet, or it's a, you know, it's a gray orange. And then also look at the border, right? Look at the border of the barn compared to the sky, the border of the tree compared to the river. So look at the object and the color beside it to judge, So I hope that helps you. Let me know if you have a way that works for you as well. I'll check the chat here real quick. Yeah. Okay, there you go. You guys are good. All right, I'll check the chat in a minute. I'm gonna get going here. So, okay, how would I dial this in? So I'm way off. I'm too chromatic. It's too vibrant, as you know, because I used a pure color. And so the opposing color of orange is blue. So if I want to gray it down, then I'm gonna immediately go into some blue just to get it so it's not so bright. You know what I mean? So okay, that worked pretty well, right? Can you see that it's turning into a brown color? In fact, I'm not too far off from the color just with that one thing alone. So hey, there's a good tip for you. If you don't know your complementary colors, if you don't know your color wheel, you got to know that the colors opposite on the color wheel will help you to achieve colorful neutral grays. I'm just going to go a little more because it's still too vibrant. I mean, I might get lucky and I might be able to dial this in just with doing this little trick right here. You know, I'm pretty close, but now I'm getting too dark in value. So I mixed in a little too much. Let's just go titanium white, just a little bit, not too much. Okay. So lighter, darker, warmer, cooler. I need to go a little warmer, you know? So trying to stick to my primaries here, but let's just go into cad yellow and see what happens. And I've got green mixed in there from yesterday, but let's just put in yellow. Let's just overshoot it a little bit. Let's just go strong and I'll help you dial it back and see what I do. Okay, like, whoops, oops, we put in too much yellow. What do we do? It's too warm. It's too vibrant. All right. But I have pretty close to the right value. You know what I mean? I'm pretty close to the right value. If I squint, these two aren't too far off. So now I'm just going to go into more blue. It just needs to have some of this chroma taken out of it. So I'm not far from dialing this in, but I went with too much blue there. Half on purpose. I want to show you too much blue. Okay. So you can kind of see and hear how I talk myself through this stuff. Okay. So let me look. Now my value is too dark, right? So I overshot it the other way. So how am I going to get it back, right? This color in isolation by itself, it's a warmer brown color is what it is, right? So let's just go a little titanium white. White will lighten your value, but it will cool it. And that's exactly what that just did. It lightened it and it cooled it, you know? And so now I got more like a chocolate milk kind of a color, but it's cooler, which is good. That's what I want. That's what I wanted. I just wanted to get all that orange out of there. So I'm not too far away. Let's just do a little tester and just see on the paint swatch. It's pretty close, you know, it really is, but I'm like too chocolate milky. Oh, sorry, there's sun. You guys are getting some sun. Let me go move my umbrella. Hang with me. Don't go anywhere. Okay. There we go. I'm back. Sorry. All right. So if you missed it, get my second tip there, which was don't stare at an object out plein air painting and try to convince yourself what color it is. Don't do that. Look beside it, look to the borders of other colors near it, or hey, another trick is just to move on, man. If you're really struggling, you just can't nail it, get as close as you can and move on. You know why? Because once you get the other colors around it painted in, it will help you get that color. So I hope that helps you. I'm just gonna check chat real quick and see if I missed anything you guys are saying, but okay, so here we go. And I'm just using the primary colors, red, blue, and yellow to try to achieve this. I'm gonna go back to my brush here, which I need to clean desperately from the last one. But hey, if you guys have anything that's working for you, color mixing wise, throw it in the chat. It really does help. It helps other people. But hey, we talked one time, do you remember a show or two ago, we talked about starting with some neutral grays and then dialing your colors in from the neutral grays. And I just want to say that that's a good way to go too. That's a good way to go too. Okay, I'm all over this color, man. I'm on top of it. I've almost got it. I think it just needs a slight tweak. I'm looking just a little, I need more orange, man. I got to go back a little bit more warmer, but I'm not going to go orange. I'm just going to go a little bit of cad yellow, just a little bit of cad yellow. Okay. And we'll get that in there. Oh, that's pretty close. Yeah. That kind of warmed it up without the orange, just really overpowering it. Whoa, that's pretty close. I think I'm actually a little bit light in value. So I think what I would do is the complementary color of orange is blue. That's what I would do is just add a little bit more blue, not much, just a little bit. And let's just see if that helped. I think I got it, man. Let me just check. Pretty sure I did. Oh, that's so close. It's pretty close. But anyway, there you go. We'll stop there because I think that was enough for you to kind of get the, I don't know how well you can see this card. I apologize. I know that the sun is shining and stuff like that too, but there we go. That's shadow. So you can see my marks there. I only made 3. I'm probably off a little bit. I'd say with that last one, I'm just going to go with just a little bit more orange just to see, just a little bit, not much. Okay. Because it's, like I said in the beginning, it's a warmer, yeah, that was it right there. That's pretty much nailed it. You know, the value's right. And let me get in the shadow so you can see, sorry. The value's right and the color's about right. So right down there. So, okay, we did that one. If you want to do another one, let me know. But I've got another tip for you, I think. I already told you about putting your palette in the shade and putting your painting in the shade. You definitely want to do that. I'd be up for doing one more color swatch if you want, or if you'd like to go on to talking about other stuff or a Q&A, we can do that as well, because it is kind of getting about that 30-minute mark, but we've been going longer because people have interesting comments and questions and things. So the swatch is a great idea. Thanks, AZ. Yeah, I think it is, man. I mean, you know, these are manufactured paint colors from a company and whatever, but if you go off the shelf and pick these weird colors, like try to pick a color you've never really mixed before. That's what I tried to pick when I picked the swatches, was, you know, pick one you never really mixed before. And because if I mean, that leads me to another good point is, if you've listened to me at all, don't make this formulaic. Like don't, you know, it's good to have little tricks in your pocket and things like that about color mixing, but it's good to know your color wheel. You got to know it. You really got to know some color theory or you're going to be screwed. So, but don't be slave to it. Like, it's called creating art. You know what I mean? So, man, be bold, make a statement, make your own colors, make your own color wheel. That's what I would say about that. You know, if you would entertain that statement right there. But we can go on and do another swatch. We can go into a Q&A here, whatever you guys want to do. I kind of want to try one of these bluish violet swatches, but you let me know if this is helping you, if you want to do another one. If not, we can go into the Q&A for sure. But again, welcome if you're just joining us. We're doing a live here on the patio in Colorado. It's color mixing, mix and match, paint swatch colors. I think it's helpful. It's good for me to do. I mean, a lot of this stuff that I show you guys, I'm trying, that's what I'm working on during the week, you know, like that values show last week. I just was like, okay, let's revisit this. And color swatches, I was like, you know, I'd really like to I want to get my colors a little tighter, a little dialed in more tightly, you know. So Dan says, look away frequently or move on when I'm having trouble. Yeah, good, Dan. Thanks. I mean, that's really it. I've painted with Dan before. He's come down for lessons and he was in a video, but he's good at doing that, like not getting stressed out or all tied up in a knot with something. From what I remember watching him is he'll just move on. And that's a good point, is you're really trying to get all the pieces, you know, filled in your painting fairly quickly before the light changes. And so once you get it's like a puzzle, right? If you get stuck in one area, go on to the next, and then it will help you see the other more clearly. So thank you. Bob says, mixing violet next. Agree with Deborah and AZ. Question. Mixing with, sorry to get my mug in here, people. Mixing with palette knife versus a brush. What are the advantages and disadvantages? Okay, so let me just say this, okay? If you need a clean color, you know, unspoiled, then you got to mix with, I don't even know where I put, oh, here it is. Then you got to mix with your palette knife because the palette knife is easier to clean, for one thing. It's made of something different, as you know, whatever this is, steel, aluminum, probably aluminum. I don't know what that is. And so it's easier to clean. And so then it's not going to be unspoiled. So if you really got to mix a color that you need pure colors, you got to, even though you're in a hurry, you got to stop and mix with your palette knife. That's kind of my suggestion. Now, the brush, if you're trying to get a painterly effect and you're looking for the Bob Ross happy accidents, or maybe not looking for them, but you don't mind if you get some happy accidents, you know, you're just kind of, and you're in a hurry, you know, that's okay to do that. And mixing with a brush, it can create some color harmony. You know what I mean? So as you're going around and mixing and going in here, like look at my cerulean blue. It's got a bunch of white in it. Like look at my blue here. It's got yellow in it. Look at this yellow. It's got green in it. And this red has, you know, I've got colors in all my colors because I just got home yesterday afternoon and did that painting I showed you. And so I don't know if I'm answering your question, Bob, but the way I think about it is I do both. Okay. And I don't think there's one right way. Sometimes when I'm in a hurry and I want some color harmony and I don't mind if I mix other colors in with it, I'll just use my brush, you know, I'll just use my brush. But if you want to be more precise and you need a clean color for that object, you got to go with the palette knife, man. I hope that helps. Does that answer your question? Let me know. Okay, let's throw this down. Let's mixing violet. This is I think Bob, you were saying, hey, let's mix some violets. Let's just do this real quick. Violet. So one thing I think about is, okay, what, you know, let's just go into this. What color family? And you know, blue. It's like a bluish violet. You could say it's a reddish violet. Depends, like I always say, what you put this violet next to, right? It depends what you put it next to. Okay, put it next to alizarin crimson. It's just has a different color. Put it next to its complementary color, orange. It's going to have more pop. You know, it's going to have more pop. So, or yellow, I guess, would be the complementary color. Sorry, it depends if you see this as violet or blue, but the complementary color of violet would be yellow if you want to be technical about it. But that's a good way to pop, you know. So anyway, let's get to it. I would go with, so I'm only using 3 colors, so I got no choice, man. I got to go into ultramarine blue. Try to mix a lot of paint there so you can see it, you know, ultramarine blue. Okay, so think through it. You got to make it lighter or darker. I got to make it lighter. Okay, do I got to make it warmer or cooler? I got to make it warmer. That ultramarine blue is really, really cold looking next to it. So as I go, I want to think lighter and warmer. Okay, so certainly I'm going to try to put in, you know, the complementary color, but first I'm going to go to red. You know, and I'm just going to make it a little bit more on the violet side. So there's cad red. Okay. And that kind of dirty browns it a little bit. I'm too dark in value still, but I'm still going with more red because I need a violet color. And that's a good point, you know, to listen to, is that is ultramarine blue and cad red the best way to mix a violet? It's not my preferred way. Like, it depends what you're painting, right? Like yesterday, I actually used this color mixture in part of the mountain. I got to go a little white. And now you'll see kind of the true, you know, because of the tinting strength of titanium white, now you see what color you're really dealing with there. But anyway, my preferred way to make violet, I love cobalt blue. I love ultramarine and cobalt blue. And I love permanent rose. I just love it. I really do. That's why in the Facebook group I was asking, you know, what reds do you like and why? I mean, there's pyrroline. I think there's pyrroline red, and then there's rose madder. There's alizarin crimson. I mean, I use alizarin crimson all the time. I really do. And it's also a preferred way to make violet. What's Deborah saying? Okay. Deborah, I like to mix alizarin and blue. I do too, Deborah. That's kind of my preferred. That's what I was getting at. Like, if you need a vibrant, colorful pop of violet, you know, I prefer like cerulean blue and permanent rose. Like if you're painting like a mountain, sorry, you can't see the canvas. If you're painting a mountain, I like that's really, really far off. And it depends what kind of time of day it is, but cerulean blue and permanent rose. There's cerulean blue, you know, I mean, we just kind of mix it up right now. Cerulean blue and alizarin crimson, you know, too much alizarin crimson. But if you get the white in there, then you'll be able to see what you're dealing with. You know what I mean? You know, I had this color going yesterday on these mountains right there. And then just a little more cerulean blue is what I would do right there. That's a nice shadow, cool, maybe even a sunset color. But I love that combination, cerulean and permanent rose, or cerulean and alizarin. Ultramarine blue is an old standby, right? I mean, you just got to go, you know, you just got to have ultramarine blue, I think. So let's just see how far off I am here and what we got to do. Okay, because I'm too gray. See, that's what happens when you mix cerulean blue and cad red. The red just wipes out all of the, you know, and I'm too dark in chroma. This is kind of a really a purplish, it's a little more purple than I thought, you know, of a color. I'm just curious if we take that mixture, even though we're not using these colors, what it would look. Yeah, I'm more close with that. See, really, that would have dialed it in right there. Cerulean blue and alizarin crimson. I just need a lighter value. If I add white to that, I'm good. I probably would dial it in. But let's just kind of do it the hard way. And let's go back. I'm going to go a little more blue. Okay. And a little more titanium white right there. Okay. And so that really, that gets me more in the neighborhood, like more of that violet color that this color swatch is. Let's just put that on. I don't think I'm where I want to be, but let's just put it on and see. Yeah, it's too white and too cool. So it needs to be warmed up. I can see that. It needs to be warmed up. So I've only got 3 color choices. I've got blue, yellow, and red. I mean, what would you throw in there? I would go to red. Cad red is a warmer red, right? So if you were asked, you're on a desert island, you only had one red, what would you use? Cad red is going to help you reach the upper scale of pop, you know, the power colors. But I'm not convinced, you know, a lot of times it isn't the greatest mixing red to get violets. I prefer alizarin crimson or permanent rose. But anyway, let's just put a little bit of red in there, not too much, because Cad red is warm and it's powerful. And so I probably overshot there, I think. Let's just put titanium white in there. Yeah, overshot for sure. So I would go back to blue. Now I'm closer. But adding that red in helped. I put too much in. A little more blue. Okay, I got to get my value up just 1 or 2 scales. And I'm pretty close there. I'm pretty close. So let me just try. Let me just try that. Yeah, that is very, very close. But it's still not the right color. It's, I don't know if you can see it better or worse, like in the shade, or there you go. That's in the shade. So I'm off. This is just too white, too brown, too purple. This was the closest, cerulean blue and alizarin crimson. That would be the way to match this if we really needed to. But I'm off here. It's too gray. So I need more blue, man. I need more blue. But my value is close. I'm all over it with the value, you know? So I don't want to go too much blue or whatever else I choose to mix in next. I got to keep, when you're color mixing, you got to stay in your value. So if this were a mountain, I'd be like, Terry, I'd say to myself, Terry, you cannot go. Don't put too much red or blue in there, because you got to stay in your value range. And that's looking, well, yeah, and that's what I did. I went too dark. I went too dark in value. Sorry, I don't know what you can see or not see, but I'll just talk you through it. So to finish this up, I need more red. The way I'm looking at it is I'm going too cool and I need to make it warmer. So I just maybe haven't had enough coffee yet. And I'm not seeing this the way I should, but let's go a little more red and a little more white, because I'm just off in value and color. Now that to me looks pretty close. Whoa, that looks pretty close actually. I may have hit the jackpot there, but I'd like to just cheat and grab some of this color and put it in there because that was the magic formula. Cerulean blue. Indian red. What do you think about Indian red, AZ? I have not used it. Sounds like maybe a more of a brownish red, but like a warmer red. Alizarin crimson can be thought of as having more of a violet bluish added to it. But I don't know. I have not used it, man. I really don't know. So I'm pretty close here. I'm close in value, but let me know about Indian red if you like it, or if you've used it, or what it does. Because I'm kind of like just rethinking my reds. I'll probably never go away from these two, but quite honestly, I love permanent rose, but I'm rethinking like what else could I try instead of permanent rose. So that's why I'm kind of thinking through this. So I'm gonna go a tad more red, because it really is just warmer. I'll get it. This is a tough one. It really is. And finally, a little more blue should do it. Yeah, that's kind of, I think the titanium white was the secret there to get this kind of to where I wanted it. But I'm still a little off, a little more blue, darker value. So I kind of lost some of my violet color there. So more blue. That should do it. Yeah, there we go. Boom. So that's almost pretty much right on right there. It's, and the way I know is I can barely see it on the color swatch. So I know that I dialed it in pretty close right there. Okay. Right value, right temperature, pretty close. Pretty close. So what was that? That was the brisk blue. Yeah, that was pretty brisk, man. That gave me a little fit. So there you have it, man. There you have it. Any other questions for you guys? Let's turn the camera back on me, because really it's all about me. Anyway, that was fun, and oh gosh, the sun's in my eyes. I hope you got some stuff out of that. I don't know if we covered like all the tips, but we certainly got through a few. I mean, let's just review real quick. Is like, what color family is it, and then simultaneously work on the value and the temperature, as you're adjusting at the same time. That's what I do. If you like that, or if that worked for you. And then your palette, you gotta, and your painting, you gotta face it into the sun or get an umbrella. You gotta mix in the shade. You really do. You just have to. And then what else? Is just that look out of your peripheral vision or move on. So thanks for helping me with that point, you guys. That was very, very important. So any other questions, shoot them at me. Let me know. We'll kind of work toward wrapping up here, but welcome again. If you're just joining us or watching on replay, we're Plein art painters. We're trying to improve our skills and having fun, most of all, right? And so what are you struggling with? What videos do you want me to do? What do you need help with? You can DM me on Instagram. I'll try to help you. You can email me. I'll try to help you. And I'll try to make videos that help you. Watch the aspen tree video if you haven't already. The points in there weren't just for aspen trees. They were for all trees, really. So Bob says, excellent exercise today, Terry. Thank you. Okay, great. Thanks for joining us, Bob. Best to you and your painting. Really appreciate hearing from you all the time. And AZ says, great for desert. AZ says, super video. Thanks, man. You are welcome. And what else we got here? Great for desert scenes. Yeah, that would be. See, you were talking about that, AZ, about desert scenes and Adobe colors. Is I think you got to go with like neutrals, complementary opposing colors, and then ask yourself, okay, which color does it lean toward on the primary scale? Does it lean toward yellow brown, a blue brown, or a red brown? And that might be a good way for you when you're getting stuck. Just ask yourself, okay, which primary color is it more leaning toward? And then add that color, and then be very, very careful with white. Don't add too much. Don't add too much white. So just checking the chat here, making sure you guys are all taken care of. But let me know if you have any other questions. But what kind of Dan says, great reinforcement in mixing colors. Thanks, man. And like I say, this is not kind of how you do it, the golden rule. It's just how I do it. And that's my thought process when I try to dial in colors. And that's why I'm out here practicing, because like Monet says, it's my day-long joy, torment, and obsession. So I'll put another video up here for you to watch. And thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for your comments and your likes. Hit a like, subscribe. That really helps YouTube get this video out to other people who are interested and don't know about it. So help out that way if you can. God bless you guys. See you up in the mountains, man. And hey, click on this video next. I'll see you over there. All right. You take care.